Are you looking for an athletic scholarship? You're in the right place. This is the Recruit Me Athletic Scholarship Podcast, the longest running podcast on recruiting and athletic scholarships. We're here to help your family navigate the recruiting road all the way to an athletic scholarship. He's a recruiting expert and a dad of a D1 athlete and a newly committed high school athlete that just received an athletic scholarship. He's got a wealth of experience to share. Here's Recruit Me CEO, Brent Hanks.
Merry Christmas to all the Recruit Me families. I hope everyone is healthy, excited, and ready for the holiday season. This is episode 281 of the Athletic Scholarship Podcast. This episode is an interview with QR Recruiter owner Wayne Woolsey. I'm going to step away from the 10 myths about athletic scholarships and give you a look at a new and exciting resource for recruiting. But join me next Tuesday for myth number 3 about athletic scholarships. Myth number 3 is, I can trust everything that coaches say and promise during the recruiting process. The 10 myths, along with the real truths about recruiting, can all be found in the Recruit Me 3.0 Athletic Scholarship System at recruit-me.com/system. Recruit Me wants to help high school student athletes get recruited on the college athletic recruiting process and how to get a college scholarship. My goal is to provide you with free and inexpensive resources that will help you put together your DIY recruiting journey. I came across a new and very helpful resource, and this episode is an interview with the founder and the owner of QR Recruiter. Go to qrrecruiter.com or check them out on Twitter at QR Recruiter. Today I'm joined by Wayne Woolsey, the owner of QR Recruiter. Welcome, Wayne.
Hey, thank you so much, Brent.
I found you on Twitter. I like to peruse Twitter on any recruiting stuff, and so I found you and got to following you and looked at your background, and we've been able to talk a couple times. Can you give the Recruit Me families a little background about you and then what QR Recruiter is?
Yes, sir. I live in Northwest Arkansas, 52 years old, and have 3 boys that all play baseball. Been coaching youth baseball, no high-level coaching, but youth baseball for 16 years. Just really enjoy the sport over the years of coaching, seeing kids that don't have quite what my kids have, kids with single parents, things like that. Just started really, wanting to help these kids with the process of, maybe playing college baseball because they didn't have anybody in their family that could help them navigate it. And today, a lot of high schools don't have recruiting in the high schools anymore. So it's just very tough to navigate. And about 4 years ago, I had the pleasure of sitting at a meeting with Norm DeBryan, the Hall of Fame coach of 33 years of the Razorbacks. He's actually the deacon of our Catholic Church. I had a good friend of mine code the ability to have a QR code and show him to show that we could take just one QR code and have information from kids and be able to show that and instantly show that. So the process would become very quick. And so that's kind of the way it began. I showed it to Norm and he looked at me with this funny look and kind of said, where did this come from? And I said, well, just an idea I have. COVID really helped understand what QR codes are, but he kept calling it a fingerprint. But the next morning, out of the blue, he called me and asked me to come to the foundation and meet with Van Horn, the current coach of the Razorbacks, and other coaches, which I almost fell over dead because I really didn't have anything other than an idea. But once I went and showed them, I knew I had something. So that's kind of the way it all began. And then, I had to find somebody who could code and who could help me because, financially, this is a big undertaking. That's kind of the way it all happened. And then here we are today.
Well, and I like the way he explained it as a fingerprint. And I think we did become more familiar with QR codes as we went to restaurants over COVID. So that kind of brought it into light. So I think a lot of people know how to use the QR codes now. So how does your QR Recruiter benefit the high school and the club student athlete?
Well, the best way it helps the student athletes is once you spend, it's $35 a year for the draft tag. And basically the draft tag is a QR code. It's a sticky back that you can stick on your helmet, your uniform, and they're restickable. And it has all of your data, measurements, grades, everything that you can imagine that a recruiter would want to know. And so you can put it on your person, your equipment, whatever, because ultimately we're just trying to help kids if somebody is interested in them, being able to rapidly get that information into the coach's hands. And so that's a really good thing. But the better thing is for 12 months for free, any coach can come to our database and hit the advanced search, and they can type in measurements, academic, they can type in sport specific measurements, and any kid equal to or greater than pop up for free. So this is huge for everybody. Everybody should do this, because for 12 months, the lowest of the community college can find you through measurements. The highest level of college can find you through simply measurements. And so this was something that we really saw as a benefit to people who probably don't have the money to go into massive recruiting programs or to go pay for these really expensive showcases. So then the other part that helps is we have huge, big QR codes called QR roster banners. And you can hang these big banners up next to your team, and it has the entire roster. Every kid, if they pay $35, they're hyperlinked to that player profile. So now from 100 feet away, anybody, including recruiters, fans, anybody can scan it, pops the names, pop up, the schedule, even live links to the sponsors for your team, which is awesome, because now for the first time, there's a little return on investment for people who are sponsoring you. And this has never, happened. So we really want to help sponsors who are giving back to the schools and giving back to the organizations. Very rapidly, we have found ways for very expensive cost to get all of the kids' information into the scouts' hands, to get individual kids' information into scouts' hands, or just for the fan experience, for grandparents and people to be able to come to a game and scan that and to be able to see everything about it. And then ultimately, even think about announcers. For the first time, they can scan the banner, and when number 10 hits a ball, they can touch his name and tell you everything. Or when number 22 is pitching, they can touch his name and tell you, his rotation is this much. He does this. His exit velo for a hitter is this. His curve is this. I mean, the data is literally MLB data that we will provide for our kids. So this is what we have built for the high school, the organizations, is we've tried to build something that parents, coaches, individuals can drive and can maintain and can see who's scanning, because we actually let parents and coaches see who's scanning. If it's a parent or if it's a coach. You also can see and compare yourselves to your graduation class. So everybody for the $35 can go in and see, I'm a little bit low on my ACT. I should probably really work on that if I want to be a D1 kid. Or maybe my exit velocity is down from my grad class, right? So specifically, you can start looking where there's deficits, and you can look and see where you're a little bit above the average. And that helps you also when you're sending letters to say, hey, coach, I'm a 6'5", 60. Probably something you want to really, really, really put out there, and then go to, I've got an exit velocity of 91, because other kids got 100 plus. So it allows you to show your strengths and allows coaches to see those strengths as well.
Here at Recruit Me, we have some free and inexpensive resources, and one of them is to suggest that you do a player profile. When the individual student athlete buys their draft tag, the $35, they get not only the QR code, but then they get on the website and they build their player profile. That's what the QR links to for the coaches and the individuals to see. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And we have links to Instagram, to Twitter, YouTube videos. You can put your own videos on it. We have places that they can put, different scholarships they've received. We also have a commitment button. So they can hit, I've committed, and who they've committed to, which is very, very cool, because we're data mining. We know every scan that has happened, because as we were talking about, restaurants have menus now, on QR codes for the menu. And this is something Norm recently has said, now that we all look at it as that. When we met, one of the last times he scanned the QR code at the restaurant, said, hey, Wayne, this is the player's menu, which is absolutely right. We look at kids as cakes. So let's just say my son, his name is Jet Woolsey, and let's say with his academic and his sport-specific measurements, he's a chocolate cake. Okay, he's a second baseman, and he's a chocolate cake. What we are doing now is we know where other chocolate cakes are, and we know schools that want chocolate cakes, and we're helping these people find each other, because we're not a recruiter. We are just moving data, and we are trying to help close the gap for families and for coaches. So we're doing all of this data mining. In the very future, I'll be able to look at you and say, hey, by your sports measurements, and you live in New Jersey, you're a raspberry swirl cake. In raspberry swirl cakes, when they're a sophomore, they start looking at these schools, because as a junior, if their future, as they progress, this is exactly who you are. You're going to be a strawberry swirl cake. So you need to start writing letters to these 6 schools, because that's where they're all going. They're looking for you. And they can go to their independent camps. So instead of going to broad showcases and spending $5,000, we're going to help people go to prospect wire showcases, to where they get data, major league data. They also have eyes on it. They have banners there. So when they're getting scanned, the kids know, I was seen by a coach. I know what went on. Parents know what went on. In 5 minutes, once the showcase is done, major league data auto-populates into our QR data, into our player profiles. This is the type of stuff that we're doing for $35. Is we have joined partners, just like with you, Brent. We are joining hands with people that are trying to help families and trying to help colleges get together without all of the middleman, without all the extra costs. This is the cool collective kind of collaboration. When you called me, I was so excited. Like, what you're doing with Recruit Me is so important, and we need you. Like, QR Recruiter needs you personally, and needs your wisdom, and we need the things that you've built, because QR does one specific thing. And then, Brent, because of your background and how well you've run your company, all of those assets help us. This is kind of cool for us to be getting together and to be building something together. It kind of goes against the grain, I think, with a lot of companies. They look at competitors like, oh, he does what I do. And that's not it. Our hearts are the same. Like, when we got together and started talking, we both have kids playing at college level. We both have felt things that happen, and they continue to happen in the industry. And we both have hearts to change that. And so that's, it's awesome. And that is why I feel that companies like ours will slowly change the industry, because we are parents, and parents need to drive this. Parents need to be in control of what is going on and the costs that are associated with it.
I'm going to paint a picture here a little bit. I'm going to get away from food, because I may have to cut this off early so I can go get some cake here in just a little bit. But let's paint a picture of a kid that buys the draft tag. Dude, what's the first thing they do whenever they buy your draft tag? What would be the first thing?
The first thing they do when they go online and they purchase a draft tag, they're just going to put in their basic information. And then what we like for them to do is currently right now, as we're building the partnership with Prospect Wire, they can go to Rapsodo, hit tracks. They can go to any of these types of technology, get all the information. They can have the coach send us an email to say, hey, these measurements are verified. We show those as verified in the system. We manually do that currently. It will be automated soon. These are kind of some of the things that we're trying to do to earn the trust. And eventually, even the ACT, even the GPA, we're going to have digital images of it, because we don't just want a kid to say, I got a 32, and then a coach to find out really he has a 22. It really is about doing this where it can be counted on. It's true information. It's not just somebody kind of throwing some stuff out there. So they're going to put in that information, and then very simply, within probably 2 days, they're going to get a packet in the mail, and it's going to have their draft tags, 5 draft tags that are sticky back, and then they'll have 5 more replacements that they can put on, because it's kind of a 2-patch process. I have this amazing patch that has been developed by a company just for us. I mean, it was developed for us. We spent 6 months developing this, because we need a reusable patch that really sticks. For them to do that, I could not have them print each individual player's QR code and get it to me, right? Because these are really special. I print the QR draft tags right here at my home, and it's a double patch. So I take and I put this other patch on top, which you can't even tell. And it's a chemical patch, so you can't rip, tear anything. Players, athletes, once they get these, they should put them on their batting helmets, put it on your catcher's helmet, put it on your uniform. We even have mom and dads putting it on their back of their shirts, because they sit in the stands. And guess who's sitting in the stands around you? Our recruiters. They can scan the back of your shirt. And that's what's happening. We already know, we've already had people saying that's what happened. So the more places you can put your own independent draft tag makes it easier for people to be able to scan it. That is what you should expect. And then we blow it up on Twitter. And of course, that's where you found us. We've got a little over, we almost have 4,000. We should hit 4,000 today or tomorrow followers. And we are very present. And so these are types of things that when you come to QR, you order this, in a couple of days, you get these cool patches. But as soon as you do it, coaches and people can start finding you. And we have digital draft tags as well that you can put on all of your digital media. And authentically, this is how it's happening. We have over 500 coaches that are following us. They see this and they reach out to these kids. They don't reach out to us. We're not a recruiter. They reach right out to the family and to the kids and nobody else and start moving forward with the process of being recruited.
If my son's going to go to a showcase and there's 100 people there and he sticks on the QR recruiter tag and he's one of 100 with that tag, that means he's a little bit different than everybody else. Whether he's a good baseball player or not, somebody's going to pay attention to him. It's making you stand out in an inexpensive way and getting that information out there in real time to those coaches that are sitting in the stands or working the showcase. A lot of times those coaches work the showcase. They're going to notice that QR tag on your shirt, on your helmet or whatever, and they're going to probably pull that kid aside and ask about it. And then that kid's going to say, just take a picture of it and see what happens. So a neat concept. And again, another way, inexpensive way to get yourself out there in front of coaches. Well, this is just a small amount of great conversation that Wayne and I had. You'll hear more from QR Recruiter and Wayne after the first of the year. Wayne, I want to thank you for coming out and being on the podcast. And I hope you guys have a great Christmas, you and your family. We invite, again, everybody in the Recruit Me family to go out and check out QR Recruiter. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. And Wayne, why don't you give your contact information real fast?
Absolutely. My direct line, it's Wayne Woolsey, is 479-957-5203. And you can come to me either email at waynew@qrrecruiter.com. And I want to say to Brent, my family here, the Woolsey family, we're very grateful to you and for reaching out. Very blessed. So thank you.
We'll look forward to coming down to Fayetteville and maybe having a lunch and maybe a adult beverage with you sometime. And again, have a good holiday, and we will talk to you soon.
Bless you, Brent. Thank you, bro.
Thank you. Take advantage of your time away from classes to check out the Recruit Me 3.0 Athletic Scholarship System. I have a holiday special of only $99. The system is normally $127. Plus, for the holiday special, you'll get the recruiting checklist emailed to you to help guide you even more through the steps of the recruiting process. Go to recruit-me.com/system and click Get Access to get yours today. Again, Merry Christmas, and be sure to join me next week on the Athletic Scholarship Podcast.